we had a big event happen yesterday. I got to get your opinion on it. Bam Adebayo.
No, jeez.
83 points, man. A lot of uproar today. Him obviously passing the late great Kobe Bean Bryant. His 81-point game. Bam now holds the second most points in the game, behind the mysterious 100-point game that we don't have a footage of. One of my favorite trends on Twitter is when they show a video of an event from like the 30s, 40s, like kind of like redo those old school, and somebody will comment, so we still ain't seen a second of that 100-point game.
100-point game.
Yeah, but they say it happened, so it is what it is. But I didn't watch the game. It's funny because I remember when Kobe dropped 81. That game, and this is pre-social media, pre-streaming. The game wasn't on TV. I just remember I was in the dorm. I remember looking at the TV and thought I was tripping, bro. I saw the box score, like breaking news, Kobe Bryant scores 81. I said, huh? And I had the same reaction yesterday, I think for a couple different reasons. One, I didn't expect somebody like Bam to drop 83. And we had the Max Crosby news that was going on. So there was all types of sports news. So when I kind of, at the end of the night, when everything settled, I saw it and I thought it was from one, now you got to check and see if it's from a parody account. Like, where did this come from? Is this true? And it was really 83. And as I was looking and kind of like trying to catch up with it, it looks like he started high 30 in the first quarter. I got to tell you, man, I really wasn't fucking with that fourth quarter. Now, I must admit, because the Kobe's 81, they were down. They had to come back. And then once you come back and you lead, and then it's like, all right, he hot. That game was already out of hand. Now, I don't want to say don't chase a record. I'm strongly in belief of if it's right there, go ahead and take it. All right? I didn't understand the whole Saquon thing when he had a chance to break the rushing record that year. He was like, nah, I don't want it. I'm cool. Like, nah, I'm getting that. Like, I don't put in this
work. Why not? Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's your name. I know people say I don't play for the records, but you kind of do. If I was at that game, I'm sure it would have been fun to see somebody just go to a whole nother world like that. But I also don't like it felt like it was forced. And 40-something free throws seems crazy. I know we're not a sports podcast. We won't spend too much time on this, but I got to get your thoughts on it. What were you thinking when you saw the 83? And did it tarnish? I don't know if you saw Shea Jackson Jr. Did it tarnish the NBA's status?
What else they say?
He LA Lakers to the death. He said, man, Adam Silver, y'all did this. Y'all manufactured this. You got somebody who broke the season. You pretty much telling me the refs can control and dictate everything. Wemby gonna do it next because y'all just want somebody to break that record so bad. Y'all disrespecting the legacy. I saw somebody, an organization, like a hoop organization, post like, we doing a 24-hour blackout protest because y'all disrespected the legacy of Kobe Bryant. The NBA, like, and all I said, and I'm just like, yo, I ain't know if it was that.
You a Kobe fan?
I fuck with Kobe. That's my guy. Phil, that's Phil's man's, and Phil said he got smoked for niggas that I think you and Dave was talking about Jordan and LeBron. He's I'm tired of niggas acting like Kobe ain't exist. But that's his man.
Shout out to Phil. But there's a reason that Kobe ain't in that conversation because he's trying to be like Mike. Like LeBron is his own thing. Kobe is a Mike spinoff.
Expected DM Friday morning.
So Kobe's a Mike spinoff. I mean, you can't give it a spinoff to like the number one spot. But with that being said, we were recording Dead End Sports as this was happening, and was able to get like real-time reactions from the fans and shit like that because we were live. Y'all go check out Dead End Sports on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast from. But as they was putting it in the chat as he was getting closer and closer, and I was like, shit, leave him in, go for it. And Ken was like, nah, this is cheap. Sit him down. Sounded like the old man. Sit him down, man. They up by 30. Ain't no need for him to be in the game. But I'm with you, man. If you can chase history and chase, and I ain't got no problem with it. I do feel like it should have been more in the flow of the game. Like
that's what the issue is.
It was what the NBA is now. Like, I've been lost that respect you spoke about for the NBA and the game. I've been lost that. So this is not surprising. Trash. Yeah, this is not surprising for me to see this happening. It's not surprising for the Wizards to give up 83 points to a nigga or foul him enough times we go to the free throw line for 46 times. Like, none of this is surprising about the NBA that I'm familiar with today. There are some good games, there are some good product out there, but overall it's trash. It's too many threes, unwatchable unless it's one of the good teams. Like, you can't just turn on a random NBA game like you can a random NFL game and be entertained because it's football versus because it's basketball. I don't think you can do that in the NBA. It got to be a key matchup. So again, I don't got a problem with it. I respect Kobe's game. I don't think it tarnishes his image. Because when people talk about this, they ain't gonna say, man, you remember when Bam hit 83. Like, people that know gonna know. Like, man, that 83 wasn't that though.
It wasn't the same type of
It wasn't
83.
that.
Yeah, it was
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my last thing.
It wasn't 55 in the Garden. It wasn't 63 in Boston in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't 8 points in 3 seconds. It wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? Those things that we remember, it wasn't none of that.
100%. Yeah, the only thing you hit the nail on the head. Let it happen in the flow of the game. Let it happen in the flow of the game, man. You ain't got to be 2 minutes. Y'all fouling just to send them to the line. You missing free throws on purpose to get them more shot attempts. Like, bro, just let it happen naturally. That's where I think people would get upset when they compare it to the Kobe. Kobe's was completely in the flow, just locked in, just making it happen. And this one, you felt like it was chasing. I'm not mad at either side, but I definitely understand. And the NBA, NBA has a ton of issues. I don't know how they fix it, but they have a ton of issues. It's just kind of an unwatchable product.
They got one issue.
Until you get to the playoffs.
I'll ask you about before we move on from sports. If y'all can fast forward. What do you think about the Hawks and Magic City and them canceling it because of the backlash?
Just like I text you, NBA some hoes.
You think that's a proper place for? Like, how do you? So let me ask you this. See, I agree with you.
Yeah,
wholeheartedly. Like, I feel like if Atlanta want to do that, like, that's part of the experience. That's part of the culture here. And it was never promoted as a strip club thing. That ain't what it was promoted. It was Magic City. Right. It was more so the restaurant, the wings, or whatever it may be. And if you know what's going on with Magic City. But I done been to games. I think I said this in every arena. Well, a lot of different NBA arenas. The only experience that you're gonna get like a Hawks one is right here, the Atlanta experience. Ain't nothing else like an Atlanta game. Like, they catering to the culture way more than I feel like anyone else does.
Yeah, them in Detroit.
But do you ignore it if you're a Hawks fan and you got a little girl you don't want to? Like, how do you explain that to, like, the people that are objecting to it? Like, they making solid points. They making points that you could be like, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say I probably land on that, but I'm curious to hear what one of those examples are, or get one of those points are that they're making.
What happens when I take my 8, 9, 10-year-old or old enough-year-old daughter to Magic City night because I got season tickets and they asking me what's Magic City and, well, what do they do? And, like, why am I put on the spot? Because I just wanted to enjoy a basketball game and now have to explain strip club culture to my kid.
But do you have to explain strip club culture to your kid?
What if they ask the question and you at the game?
Magic City has fire wings. One day you'll learn all about it. That's not a lie. Is that a lie? Is that a lie? I didn't say nothing else. I'm
playing devil's advocate.
For their mind and where they are in life, that's what they need to know. There used to be a thing called staying out of grown folks' business, and you just kind of accepted what it was. Like, if an adult told you something, that's just what it was. You didn't ask any questions. I'm not talking about being inquisitive, because that's different. Kids are going to ask questions about certain things, and it is our responsibility. I remember in a whole different, like, well, I ain't even gonna go down that path. Either way, I get it. I don't have kids. I don't have daughters. I have a niece, but I also don't immediately think of. I'm a big believer in this. If you don't like something, don't watch it. If you don't want to see something, unfollow it. It's just really, and I feel like because I feel like you said this somewhere. Maybe it was not this past another week. Not this past on deck, but the one prior to it. The most simple solution that's for some reason we lose track of is you can stay home. You can do something else. I don't understand why everything needs to be protested, or, like, there are people who appreciate Magic City night. My biggest issue with the NBA was y'all knew this was going on and you folded to the public pressure. If you really cared about the image of it, then you would have stepped in and said something previously said, hey, or hit up the Hawks on the side, like, hey, bro, what y'all doing? I'm assuming that teams don't have the freedom just to throw their own events without the league knowing. I'm sure that they have to get everything approved by the league. Yeah, and you might be right. And Atlanta is a different place. I think that is important to talk about here, where they embrace the city and the blackness and everything else that goes into it. And it's really an event. You can tell by the halftime performances, all types of stuff. And it's not just like they bringing in, like a lot of stadiums, for example, if you got the Utah Jazz were fucking around and booked Nelly for a halftime show, or the Milwaukee Bucks booked Ja Rule one time. Now, Atlanta's so rich in their culture. We got all Atlanta artists who are royalty down here that we can just keep rolling out each and every game if that's what we want to do. We got Boosie courtside. I know he's not an Atlanta native, but we got him courtside. We got 2 Chainz being involved in some of our operations and things like that. I just don't like the
Killer Mike got a barbershop in that arena.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Speaking of, that's a feature killer right there too. Yeah, I was talking about not too many people get Andre 3000. He got Andre 3000 on Scientists and Engineers.
Oh, what?
Scientists and Engineers. Killer Mike watched that whole track.
I'd take a revisit to that.
Yeah, he got him. He got everybody. He got him and Future. And Future flowed on that too. Either way, going back to the point, I just don't know when we got to the point where everything we disagree with. And I understand, like Luke Cornett and Al Horford, they feel strongly about it. So use your voice. Okay, cool. But also, bro, shut up.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's a lot bigger things to worry about in the world than Atlanta having a strip club night. And
it's not even a strip club night.
It's what I'm going to say. And what he marketed is that the nigga, tell you what irritated me, that nigga, the rapper D1. He put a post up.
I didn't look at it.
Nigga put a post up talking about we made the calls, made the connections, we got this taken down. It took a community of people, like a community of haters, nigga. That's what y'all is, a community of haters. Yeah. He was bragging on IG talking about how he set up some shit and called people behind the scenes to get this shut down. So D1, you ain't doing what you think you is with that one, bro.
Yeah, man. I know there's a lot of men with daughters or just people who had strong beliefs. I would have loved to get Mo's opinion on this just to see where he stood on this one.
That would have been interesting.
But I know there's a lot of people with strong beliefs and things like that. So I get it. If that's something that's offensive to you and you don't want to see it, that's cool, man. But there's just a certain way to do it. So I remember one time, this is like one of those early memories. Like, I don't know the whole scene, but I remember being young, like maybe 5 or 6 years old, and my dad took me to a Bengals game. And I remember there was a moment where people were up. We was like close to the aisle, and I remember people above us, they were drinking a beer, and they were cussing. I remember they cussing up a storm. And my pops kind of looked around and said, hey, y'all, like, and kind of gave him the, like, pointed at me, like, and it was just that. He had 2 choices. He can ask them to do that, but guess what? If they said, fuck it, we're going to keep doing it, I'm sure my pops would have just been like, hey, man, let's get up and move or do something else. I don't think he was going to force the issue and demand them to stop using the language they were using at a professional sports game. Like, it is what it is. All you can do is try, but the public effort and the campaigning behind the scenes, bro, it is what it is. Like, there's so much stuff that goes on. It is cool. Yeah, man. That's what y'all want to spend your time. That was the biggest issue, man. So it's not like I don't appreciate people's opinion from the other side of it. It's just like, man, y'all some real like call the police energy. Like, y'all slang. Like, just leave. Like, just don't go.
Real hall like energy. That's what it's giving.
Yeah, all pass. You know what I mean? What class you supposed to be in? Get the fuck out of my face, bro. But with that being said, man, shout out to everybody out there. Another week in the books. Book 2, Chapter 57. Putting those numbers on the board. I'm your host, Rich, joined by the legend Spike Lou.
What up, though?
Spike Lou, how you feeling, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Stuff coming together for our pop-up. Make sure y'all are tapped in. The links are out. Grab your crew neck, grab your t-shirt, pull up, grab your free slice of pizza at the Nashville Ducos. That was fun doing this week. Went out to an event, Rhythm Beats and Lyrics, I think it was called.
Yeah, man. I love seeing Spike Lou outside.
That shit was fun.
They expanded that. It was when they started that a year or 2 ago, it was really only like Detroit and Houston was the only 2 cities they did it in. So I'm glad to see I see they got one in Charlotte. I sent it over to Ray P. I'm like, hey man, if you got a chance, go check that out.
Hey, when I tell
it
you,
was
Rich,
live.
Hey, whatever you was looking for was in there.
Okay.
Whatever your bag is, I don't matter what your bag is.
Yeah.
It was in there. And man, like it was fun. Like me and shout out my guy Derb. Him and his brother was in there. It was dope, man. It was a dope event. Manny Fresh came out, did his thing. They did the Cash Money No Limit thing live. Went a lot different. With all them soft ankles in the house, it was different from the verses.
Oh, yeah.
Like Manny Fresh made it different.
Wasn't too many fatigues in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, one day like, it was some niggas in there in fatigue, but it wasn't a lot of them. Okay. But no, it was dope, man. I enjoyed being outside, doing that, having fun. There's some dope pieces of art in there too. I like when it's different. I like that it just wasn't like a club thing. It was more so like an event that they had. I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but
the curated.
That was exactly the word that I was looking for. But yeah, there was some dope pieces of art in there.
Same brain, my nigga.
Yeah, there was some dope pieces of art in there. It was fun, man. I enjoyed it.
That's dope, man. I'm glad to see
you would have definitely. You would have definitely.
Oh, I saw it in your post. I'm like, oh shit, I wish I was at that. That looked like it was right up my alley, man. So shout out to Jack Daniels and what they're doing with those events. Go check them out if you have a chance. Go look it up. With that being said, man, we appreciate all the bookworms out there. Also, real quick, so we're speaking about like museums and stuff. You ever been to the Trap Museum?
Yeah, I went when it first opened.
Cool experience, overrated experience, what you expect experience.
I mean, don't have high expectations for it. It's just a house essentially. But for people that come down here and want, it's like it's an Instagram thing. People that want to go take pictures in front of the different displays. It's curated very well in the sense of trap music. I wouldn't shit on it and tell people, hey, I'm coming to Atlanta to go to the Trap Museum. Like I went to LA to go to the fucking Marathon store. So I get people wanting to go places for events. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for specific things. And if you want to go take pictures at the Trap thing, and it's worth it. But
100%.
Yeah, it's worth it.
All right.
And it's a cool little cafe. It's a cool little cafe next to it too. They got some fire wings over there. Might catch T.I. sitting in there sometimes.
Okay,
so that's dope. Yeah,
that's fire.
You got to come down here, Rich. You got to hit that, and you got to hit the Bankhead Seafood, the Killer Mike, and T.I. own too.
T.I.'s. Yeah, I
want to do like a hip hop food. I want to go to Marathon Burger, Trail Burger. I had Bankhead Seafood already, but I want to hit them different ones. Yeah,
we can do it, man. Get some reactions out of it and call it a day. I tell people all the time, I travel for food. Like if I'm going somewhere, the main priority is trying some fire ass restaurants. Everything else is kind of a bonus. Either that or it might be a game. Like it might be a game that I'm like the Bengals playing somewhere, whatever the case is.
Concert, food.
Those are the top
like that's it. That's it.
Literally.
I'm going for the game, I'm going for a concert, or I'm going for some food. Yeah.
I don't do too much. I was telling somebody recently, I'm like, man, I haven't been on a vacation and I don't know how long. I'll take little trips and they all intentional, but I ain't like putting my feet in the sand just to relax. If you see me on a flight, it's one of those three things, like you said, literally.
So you want a vacation? Do you want to go somewhere? Like you got your eye on something?
No, that's the weird thing. I don't really have so even when people say, what country you want to go to, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I haven't sat down and really thought about that. I have a passport, want to go, but I haven't really thought about what I want to do. I know if it's anywhere it's a beach, but
have you been to where have you been that you like?
Where as far as like
international? Have you been to international?
I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Canada and I've been to the Bahamas, and that's not really international. So
that was like from Miami.
Orlando. It was cruise, but it was from Orlando. And that's the thing. Like I said, I have the passport, so it's not like that. I just haven't planned anything or looked at anything. I want to go to Africa. I want to hit up some countries in Africa. I'm not really overly excited to hit up Europe. I know a lot of people like going to London and Paris. Like, yeah, that's cool at some point, but it's not like high on my list. I would love to go to Spain. I'm into the wine, so I love to. Yeah, I would love to go to Spain.
I feel like Jamaica is a must.
Yeah,
early in your travel days. It's a must.
Yeah.
It's not too different, but it's different enough. And you get your feet under you, get your experience. Like you're like, okay, I see how they live in different places, but it's also, you know what I'm saying, stuff catered to tourists. The Jamaica and that's a fire one to go to. Belize is good, but
Yeah. I'm trying to hit up them
it
Dave
ain't a lot
spots.
going on. It ain't a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? You're going over there just to chill if you go
Yeah.
over there. Yeah.
And that's probably what one day whenever I take a vacation, like an actual week-long joint or
You
whatever,
going to chill?
maybe I'll just go to chill. Yeah, just
Okay.
relax,
Yeah,
man. Just disconnect a little bit and go from there. Are you
if I was to offer,
go ahead, what are you about to say?
I was gonna say if I was to offer any suggestions, I'd say Jamaica. That would be my first. From everywhere I've been, yeah, that's
I can make that shake.
that's the one. Yeah, you can make that shake too.
I can make that shake. Are you it's probably a mix, but are you a sit down, relax, or are you like, hey, nah, I'm trying to go to this spot, that spot. I'm trying to check this place
Oh, I
out.
ain't
Like if
trying to
you're
go to no
going,
spots. I ain't
okay,
going to no spots. I don't want to do that. But I'm doing the excursions, and like I'll do a tour.
okay,
I want to do that. I don't want to sit at the hotel or the resort all day. I ain't really can't do. I can do that maybe one day on a cool 5 day. Sit there, binge a show or something, poolside or at the beach or whatever. I listen to some podcasts. I can do that. But I also want to like do some shit that I don't normally do. I went paragliding one time. I climbed a rock wall. You do the sail thing, shit. Do the jungle. The 4-wheelers, swimming in a cave and shit. Like all of this shit.
Rock climbing. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was the most that one in the parasailing was the most out there one. I was like, fucking, I was in the Dominican Republic. They had a rock climbing thing at the resort, and it was
okay. Then
chick right there. Yeah, they had some nice talent working the little wall. They had to persuade you to do it. So you always gonna fold when they ask you. You don't think you can do it? Yeah. So that was fun. The parasailing I probably would never do again.
What was it about it?
It's the thing where it's like a kite and you're sitting on behind the boat. I just seen some videos after I did that. I was like, nah. The parasailing and the swim. I think I would skydive. I would do. I think I would do that.
I think I would too. I live under the belief of there's too many people that it's too successful.
Yeah, like I
versus
would do it
like thinking about the opposite. Facts. A lot of people look at it from the standpoint of it's gonna be something bad. I'm like, man, people do this multiple times a day.
Yeah,
professionally. I don't know.
So, yeah, I think I'd do it maybe once or twice. The thing I would never do again too is the swimming in the cave shit. I ain't realized.
I remember you talking about that. You talking about
I
that
can
on
swim, but nah, no sir. Yeah. that wasn't for the week right there.
Oh.
But you need to get a vacation plan, Rich. Let me know. I'll go too, man. I need one too. I ain't been on a good vacation in at least 3 years, I think. The last place I actually did go to was Belize. I'm thinking about doing another cruise too.
Yeah, I ain't been on a cruise since that. I've only been on one, that one we talked about. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But we do have some comments from the bookworms. We got a couple of ones. Najee, we're gonna have Najee on the show here soon. He hit us up.
He created a dope. You see what he created for the Ravens? I think it's for the Ravens. Truist. It was a box, like a gift box that he created for him. Had a gold bar in there as a paperweight. I seen it on the store. That shit was fire. Shout out to him, man. That shit's dope. Really, really dope shit.
Oh man, I missed it on the story that day. I probably need to follow him from my personal page. Because I usually just post on Another Week in the Books. But he made supremely talented. We're gonna have him on soon. We're just gonna work out the details. But he wrote in Chapter 56 was one for the books. Great fucking episode with some flame emojis. That, of course, had the good brother David Sweat Jr. with us. So shout out to Dave, man. It's always a good time chopping it up with him and getting some game and having some real conversation. We also had a comment from our guy.
And they made it back safe. They made it back
Glad
safe.
to hear that. Yeah. Glad to hear that. We also got... Oh, go ahead. What you about to say?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say Public Enemy BB wrote on that Chapter 56 episode as well on YouTube. We become what we do, so we lose ourselves. Sheesh, that hits hard. Love the vulnerability shown throughout the conversation. Thank you, as always, for writing into us and letting us know what you think. Really appreciate that. It doesn't go underappreciated at all.
No,
So thank you
shout out
for
to
that,
Public
man.
Enemy B.
Yeah, always supporting, always pulling up. Like he mentioned, like, man, if y'all gonna be having the link online, I'll cop some merch, all of that, man. That just goes a long way. Can't wait to link up one day, good brother.
Shout out to
And
Dave, man.
going
That was a
back,
great episode.
it really was a
that
great
was
episode, man. I really enjoyed that. I like that's the interesting thing about this space. You don't really know what you're getting into until you get there. And it's
and
just
then
like
when you're
life.
there,
That's
you embrace it. Like
yeah,
that's the
you into it,
thing
you
I love
present.
about this platform. It's like you don't feel like you're being judged. You don't feel like you're saying this like for hype or anything like this. Like it's we genuinely having a conversation.
Yeah, that's my favorite
Yeah.
part of it. And that's why even sometimes when we don't have anything mapped out, like we didn't really have anything last week with Dave. It just kind of flowed that way. It's just convo, man. We try not to overthink it or overcomplicate it. You know, we're just talking about ourselves and feelings and just being real. As long as we authentic and we real, I think this works. Once things start being guarded and held back and we don't push ourselves to kind of take those next steps, that's when the brand falls apart from what it is. But we're going to continue to lead the charge and make sure it's a safe place and hopefully encourage people to use more of this in their day-to-day life with their people that they care about, they love. Just talk about your feelings, talk about your emotions. This has made me a better person, if I'm being real. Like it made me more open to just sharing and having conversations and really eliminating small talk too. I'm not a real big small talk person anyway, but I enjoy asking people how they feeling and really getting into it. I found myself more aggressive when it comes to not taking the bare minimum answer from the people that I really care about, family and close friends. Like if I ask you how you doing and you say good, like I'm not just sitting there and say, okay, cool. Like, nah, really, how you doing? You cool? And all that stuff. And it opens up a box. And I think that's a direct reflection of spending time here on another week in the book. So shout out to the bookworms and shout out to you, Lou. Shout out to Mo and everything that's been built from this space. And we're going to continue next week with the book, with winning, so we can have a conversation. But I wanted to, Lou hit me up and said, do you have anything in mind tonight? And I said, I do, man. So this past weekend, I was in Baltimore. Shout out to my niece. She turned 1 year old. Had a birthday party for her. She was born on Fat Tuesday, so we had a Mardi Gras theme. But I traveled with my mom. So me and my mom went. I went down to Cincinnati, caught a flight with her. And when we were in the airport, we were eating and stuff like that. Or maybe it was on the way there. It was on the way to drive to the airport. I picked her up. And she was like, are you happy? And I love conversations like that. I love when me and my mom get a chance to just chop it up and just talk about really.
She asked you that?
Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah. Because she asked me because I think she's searching. I don't want to speak for her or older people. I just think there reaches a point where you try to search for what's next and kind of like to navigate that part of life. I know we talk about all the things that have happened that we've gone through and all the technology we've experienced, but I'd imagine one of the most difficult things about getting older is so much has changed. You know what I mean? Maybe you start feeling like you don't have a way. And I'm not saying this is what she meant by any means of the word, but I think, there is some search of, is your day-to-day happy? Are you okay? Do you feel like you want to funk or anything like that? And I was, yes, absolutely. And that's something I don't even know.
Yes, you're happy, or yes, those things apply. Really?
No, I'm happy. We had a really good conversation. I won't go in the full depth of it, but the whole point of me bringing this up is, go ahead. Let's go.
That's interesting. David asked me, I don't know if I brought that up, but David asked me that.
See,
that was a conversation that led to him being on this last time. And my answer was different.
What was yours?
I said, no. Just based off what I thought, things would be like at this age. And yeah, I think he told me his answer was no as well. But yeah, my answer wasn't yes at all.
It's interesting. So let's dig into that a little bit. But before we do, the reason I even brought this up because I was surprised at my answer because I generally had to stop and I'm like, yeah, I am
I was
happy.
surprised at
Yeah.
mine too.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, power flashing on and off again. But I was surprised, like, yeah, you know what? I am happy. And I think we had a conversation maybe last year in a different chapter where we kind of talked about this. And I mentioned how that's a fleeting feeling, that happiness conversation. It goes back to the whole Kevin Durant, Draymond Green combo that they had. Just it's important for me, especially in a journey, to stay present, not to feel like I'm chasing happiness. I much rather just exist and like feel whatever it is that happening at the moment. Um, and that's another part of our conversation me and her had was just sometimes, and this is why school always says nostalgia is scary, it's dangerous because you find yourself getting caught in these moments where I'm learning how to appreciate the moments, be thankful that they happen, but also accept like it's time to move on. It's time to go to the next thing. Keep your feet moving forward. It doesn't mean you can't get caught up in it, but don't get so caught up that you can't move forward or find the next thing because you're trying to embrace those. Y'all had a great conversation one time about not knowing the last time. There's people we've had our last conversation with that we don't know. You know what I mean? It's just kind of what life is. And I was surprised that I said I was happy, not because I don't deserve happy or I'm not a generally happy person, but I just looked around. I'm like, you know what? I am happy with what's going on in life. Now, part of it, I'm sure, might have to do with some of the things that are going on. Like I'm starting to see a little bit of headway in this space. We got the merch drop, which is very exciting for me. I brought that up when Big Jeff was on. Um, we haven't really announced this yet, but Culture Garden was invited to a film festival in June.
Dope.
You
That's
know what I
dope.
mean? Like it's just dope. It's just putting the work in. What you say, my bad?
I just said that was dope.
Oh man, appreciate you. Just putting that work in and kind of seeing some fruits from the labor is really cool. But the dangerous part of that is also not getting caught up in that moment. You get what I'm saying? So if you start doing this for moments like that, then it's going to be easier to stop doing it. How much of that is like, oh, it's cool that it happened versus like a genuine happiness? Is it rooted in that these things are happening right now? Because if that's the case, what happens when somebody doesn't invite us somewhere? What happens when there aren't any drops or anything to look forward to? Is it going to make me not as appreciative of having a space to really share thoughts? So it's definitely an interesting concept. I want to hear more about you when you said you weren't and you expected more from yourself at this age.
From now that I am this age, I know the effect that the lack of structure had on my life.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how important it is now, even though it's still difficult for me to live in a structured form because I just don't like it. It's boring to me.
Can you explain that a
However,
little bit more? Like, what do you mean when you say that? Like, what is when you say lack of structure? What do you mean? How is it translated to your adult life?
in the sense of, like, I know I told the story on here. Like, I stopped carrying a book bag home in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, like, nobody was checking to make sure I did my homework. I could do this shit in the period before the next period, and it'd be turned in. It's fine. But that in itself is it's a lack of structure in the sense of, no, you're supposed to go home, do your homework, learn, pay attention in the class prior to, and then you build upon that knowledge. So you take that from being in middle school even to college in the sense of, well, oh, you can do this at the last minute. You can do these things where you don't have to take the same disciplines that most people in college are taking, and you can get it done. You can still go live your life, be unstructured. I ain't got to go sit in the library. I ain't got to go be in the study groups. I don't have to do none of those things because I can still get it done. I mean, will I get a C? Yeah, cool. But that's fine back then.
Yeah.
But now that I'm this age, I understand how that affects me now in the sense of just getting things accomplished and things done, like with work or with this, or you become comfortable in this place. It's the sense of, well, I have a lot of confidence in my abilities, so I can put it off. I can procrastinate. I can make sure that me taking 2 weeks on this versus cramming it in 2 hours I feel I can do either one. So when Dave asked me, "Are you happy?" There's a sense of vulnerability and truthfulness there that I have to say no, because I know I still lean towards that because I'm so accustomed to it since I've been doing it since fifth grade. I ain't got to, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious. I hope it doesn't come off this way, but I don't have to apply the same. Well, I feel like I don't. And that's the problem, to where I say, no, I'm not happy, because I feel like I can do stuff still at the last minute, where I can make it happen because I feel like, oh, not that you're smarter than most people, but I have the mind frame or mindset to be able to do it. I've been doing it, but that's not productive and conducive to what I want to build, who I want to be as a brand. So when he asked me, "Are you happy?" I'm looking at it and from that sense and like, yeah, I'm cool with some of the stuff that I do. I enjoy it. I love it. But a constant state of happiness, and it goes even to reading that book. Like that's winning, and we'll talk about it next week. He's speaking about the same thing in the book. It's like, yeah, it's one thing to complete the task. It's another thing to show up with your best ability and you being in your superpower bag because of who you are, and taking that task completion to levels that people ain't ever seen before. Hence him training Michael Jordan and training Kobe Bryant and training Dwayne Wade. So when David asked me if I'm happy, if I'm pulling up on the 15 or 16-year-old me with the thoughts that I had of what I wanted to be, and just how outlandish it was, some of the stuff that we put on pedestals. If I was to pull up on a 15, 16-year-old me and be like, "Well, you happy with what you see right here at 43?" 16, 17-year-old me would be like, "Hell no. Nigga, no. Why didn't these things happen that you dreaming about right here at 16 and 17? Like, how is it? Like, how are you not doing it?"
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. I understand where you're coming from. Also, I don't know how much weight you should put into. We don't know shit at 16, 17. So yeah, that may be true, but also I don't want to discount what you're saying because I know what you mean. But I also wouldn't, if I was you, I wouldn't get hung up that much on that because there's a lot of things that I thought I wanted at 16, 17 that I'm like,
It's
nah.
not a hang up, because I agree with you, but I have to be honest, and that's one of the things that, again, we're gonna talk about it next week as you listen to it more. Being honest in your observations about yourself is one of the best ways, or the best way, to make sure that you're improving upon yourself. So if he had asked me, like, if it's funny. So if I had this conversation and my mom had asked me that, like what you're saying your mom did, I would probably just tell her yes, because I don't want her to worry. I don't want her to think that, oh, is this not going right, or that she has to fix anything, or that she has to worry about anything. I'm speaking a lot more freely when I'm talking to Dave, because that's my brother. Like that, I'm speaking not from a father, or excuse me, a mother-son relationship. It's more of a peer relationship. Someone who I look up to and respect, who's asking me a question, and we're being genuine with each other. I couldn't lie to him and be like, "Yeah, I'm happy, I'm cool, I'm good with where I am at this stage in my life." Like that would be a lie. And I couldn't do that in the conversation that we were having. But I could do it with my mom. I could lie to her because you know what I'm saying? So I could see why you would tell your mom yes. But I also could see if you were in me and you were having a conversation, I was like, well, are you really happy with where you are right now? Like, do you like what you get up and do every day? Or would you rather be doing something else? And not to say that determines your happiness, because those things shouldn't make you happy. And that's something that I'm still trying to implement more in my life, in the sense of, like, you are in control of your happiness. You get to decide when you're happy and when you're not. That's on you.
Yeah.
Like that's a very, like, you have to be very mature in your thought process to understand it. And I get that. Like you have, but even as he was asking me that, I was thinking like, well, what are the things that make me happy? I had to think so hard. Like, I'm talking about genuine happiness where you going and you doing something like, oh, I'm happy I did that. Hanging with family and friends, seeing them enjoy themselves. accomplishing a goal. Like those things make you happy, but that ain't on a Monday, that ain't on a Thursday, randomly March, whatever today is. Like, what made you happy today?
I'm all right. Hold on. There's a lot to kind of dig into here. So the brains are turning. For one, I want to acknowledge something, which is you and I are very similar, surprise, in the structure part. Because when you were saying it, I don't know if that has anything to do with structure per se. I had structure, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I had both parents at home growing up, but I still was the same kid going to class, doing my second period homework and first period. You know what I mean? And that's just it's a bad habit that I picked up where I almost feel more. If you gave me a month to do an assignment, I'm feeling like, I feel like I got 2 weeks free. Like I don't need those first 2 weeks. Where I could probably use those 2 weeks to really thoroughly plan and maybe start something and tweak it and then change it and then try to make it better throughout that process. Versus what you said, where I'll just use a week of that month and what you get is what you get. Now I'm going to give you everything I got for that week, but I also will know when I turn it in, damn, you know what? I probably could use that extra time. Even leaving the crib, bro. Like even leaving the crib sometimes for work, you just look up and it's like, damn, like something about if I have to go in the office, we have to be there by 8:30. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'll tell myself, you know, maybe the night before, like, all right, man, I'm going to try to get out of here by 7:45, get there by 8:10, 8:15, whatever the case is. And here I am finding myself pulling up at 8:32. You know what I mean? It just is, and it is something that I think is worth figuring out where that comes from and why that's the case. And I think part of it is that motivation. Nobody's ever had to get me up for a flight. Nobody's ever had to say, make sure you get here on time. Now I'm getting on time, even though I'm not there super early. But there's certain things that you just naturally are more prone to do and get up for. If it's, I got to do X, Y, and Z. But a lot of stuff is just like, I wonder if it's because I'm in constant motion that I just like moving at my own pace. I don't know how to answer that or what that's into. But I am curious into something. How's your space? Like, and what I mean by that is like, if I looked at your desk or like just your space, are you more of a cluttered person or are you very neat and tidy?
A mix. I ain't know about it being neat and tidy, but I also would leave a cup.
Organized chaos.
Huh? Organized chaos. Yeah, like I know where everything is.
Okay, got
some shit like that. Yeah.
I think there's something with you're 100% correct. That's something my mom discussed, how she has to be responsible for her happiness. Or we do, should I say, not her in particular, but all of us, we're responsible for our own happiness. We can't look for it in other people. You mentioned like on a random Thursday, what makes me happy. And that made me start thinking like, damn, is there anything other than the small stuff, like able mind, like waking up, like having my right mind, just being able, like, is that enough?
That's a given though. And I think that's a cop out, and that's a given. Like when people, what are you thankful for? Oh, God woke me up this morning. Yeah, nigga, we all thankful for that. I get that. But like, what is it though? Like, but wait. When we say we are responsible for our happiness, like when you say when I ask what makes you happy on a random Thursday, like, did you play the game and it was fun? Like, that's cool. Did you watch a TV show that you enjoy? Did you read a book that you like? Did you listen to your favorite album? Did you have a good meal? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think that I don't normally take time to reflect on those things. When those are things that I have the freedom to do as a single man, like I can go eat wherever I want to today or tomorrow or whenever I go. I can play the game.
Pay for one, not two.
And for one, it ain't gonna be it ain't gonna be a 2-person bill. Or if I want to play I ain't played the video game in forever, which I need to get back into. But if I wanted to come home and play 2K for an hour, did that make me happy? Just scrolling on Instagram mindlessly for an hour, does that make me happy?
There's no way.
I think it don't, but you end up doing those things too, though. If we being honest, you would sit there and you'll look up and be like, man, I've been looking at fucking reels for 30 minutes. Like, I looked at this one that Rich sent me, and now I'm fucking rolling. Like, those are the things, and you sense like, well, if you say them out loud and we talk on each other, you be like, no way, that makes me happy. But you still will attain 30 minutes to that, or an hour to that, when you're sitting at home, relaxing, chilling, should be doing something that is making you happy, but you resorted to that because that's comfortable. So I think a lot of times comfortable and happy, we get confused. And that was what made me think when David was asking me that, he was like, well, are you happy? And I was like, well, I could consider myself comfortable, but I don't know about happy, because happy to me is something different. It's doing what I want to do every day on a daily basis and not having to, well, you got to do this to pay your bills. You got to do this because you got to eat. You got to do this because I mean, you need money in the bank.
Yeah,
I don't think that's happiness.
This is fascinating because, yes, you're right. For you, and probably for a lot of people, happiness is probably rooted in being able to do what I want to do. But that's also not. Does that mean that if you're not doing that you can't be happy? You know what I mean? Like, or what is because I'm figuring this out. I'm figuring this out in real time with you as we're having this conversation. I'm thinking of it because as my mom asked me that question, I'm happy with where life is right now and what I'm doing. I genuinely am. I'm blessed and fortunate enough to like my actual work, like my job that I do. I enjoy what I do. Not is every aspect of it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's a lot better than what I could be doing. And also, I enjoy this space. Does that get tiresome? Do I wish that maybe I had a week to I don't have to record nothing? Absolutely. But I still enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I guess the question is, and this is for the bookworms out there too, are we judging or are we defining happiness correctly? Are we looking at that word and giving it too much power or not enough? Because comfortable, happiness, are they in the same family? I'm not 100% sure, because you're right. It is difficult. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, when I mentioned waking up it's really about the opportunity to continue to do something that I want to do. I have the freedom to whatever I want to do today, I can attack that. And I know not everybody has that, because let's say it's a Tuesday. I got to get up and go to work. I can't just lounge and just play the game and watch a movie and go to the park or play golf or whatever the case is. I know for you, that's probably a perfect day. Like literally, I'm curating my start to my finish. I've been wanting to check out this fire ass restaurant. That's cool. But I also wonder how much of it is like, I know you love golf. Does being on the golf course make you happy? Would you say that? Or does it keep you occupied?
I'm happy to be there. I don't know if it makes me happy.
So that answer right there lets me know that we need to really define what happiness is, and if it's a real thing.
That was what I was going to continue to say after that. Like, I'm happy to be on the golf course and to be playing and learning and working through what it is to be good at it or to be decent at it. But when I think of happiness, because I figured this question would come up if we're defining what it is, I think the biggest thing for me, and it even sparks to the start of this conversation with you when you were talking about your niece. When I think of happy, when I'm most like, damn, this is dope, I'm enjoying this, it's when I'm at home with my family and everybody's enjoying themselves. We eating good food, we laughing, there's memories, not even just family, friends. So I have a robust friend group when I go to like Nashville, like people that I've been knowing for 20 to 30 years, that all of us still keep in touch. Like, there's a sense of like, damn, this is like, I know everybody in here got a problem. However, we've all put that to the side for right now, and we laughing, we're drinking, we're smoking, we're joking. Like, it's just good vibe. I like love to see that amongst people that I love, whether it be family or friends. And that's the thing I feel like that makes me the happiest right now at this stage of my life.
What is it about that makes you happy? Why is that what you pinpoint exactly to and tie it to your happiness? Can you put
it's sort of to what school said, it's nostalgia. Like, you remember, like, as you're in those moments, you remember me and this, like, you hear them telling the story and you remember like where you and that person was at in y'all life at that moment. And it's like, damn, I'd like, we wouldn't have never thought that at that point that we would be here talking about it in this house or amongst each other, like as teachers and having professions and building businesses. We've done these things, but at that very moment in that story that you're telling, that was the most important thing in our lives. And you were there for that. You know me, I know you. I understand what you're saying when you tell that story, when you laugh at that thing, when there's that joke that we all know as a family, or there's this joke that we all know as friends. There's that song that we all can relate to and remember that time. Like that right there, that's happiness at this age for me. And I guess a lot of it has to do with, if Dave is asking me that now that I'm thinking about this in real time with you, when he say, well, are you happy? I don't do that a lot. I probably do that when I go to Nashville. I'm not in a city with my friends and my family. So I don't like it. I don't do that on a weekly or a weekend or even a monthly basis, probably once a quarter. And not to say that I'm not satisfied with where I'm at. Like I love being here and what I've built in Atlanta and the people that I've met, the friendships that I've built. Those are cool too. But if we talk about happiness on a daily basis, I think a lot of that has to do with the people that you are around, that you have some type of comfortability with, some familiarity, where you guys are like, yeah, I remember that too. Or yeah, I know you and I know how that affected
you. That's a very interesting answer. Mainly from the stance of, because I agree with you. I get a lot of my joy and happiness from that, because there's just years and you can't compete with it. There's just so many memories and so many experiences that those moments you can go on for days and days. The dangerous part of it, or potentially dangerous part of it, that I want to talk to you about or ask you about is, one person might look at that and say, well, it sounds like this person believes that their best days are behind them and not in front of them. What are your thoughts on that?
That would be an astute observation, but I'm not sure that I agree with it. And when you say that there's a responsibility that comes with that, in the sense of, well, I don't feel like that, because I know that I could work harder and do the things that I like. There's a responsibility in working harder to make sure that that's not the case. So I wouldn't be offended if someone said that because they heard how I was explaining it, because I do know the work that it requires for my best days to be ahead of me and not behind me. Like that's one of the beautiful things. Like me and Dro talk often, and we talk about, like David talked about it last week. We talked about it before, me and you. This is the gray area for men. This is the gray area.
Yeah, keep going. I got a thought, but keep going.
Yeah, this is the gray area for us. No one explained this stage of life to us. Like we understood being young, we understood the college ages, maybe even the mid 20s to 30s if you're married and you build a family. But this age right here where you like, I'm good at what I do, but I could be doing something different. I want these things. Like I really gotta lock in. Like David was telling the story of having $58 in his account at 43 years old. Now seeing where he is at his age, and it's like, this is where you really start to look at yourself honestly in the mirror every day as a man and be like, bro, what am I doing? Like, yeah, this could be it. However, there could be more. So to your original question, when someone say that sounds like someone whose glory days are behind them, I would respond and say, no, that sounds like someone who knows they have work to do, who enjoyed those days that were there. However, I know the talent and the potential and the work that it takes to get to where I want to be, and I'm knee deep in the how the fuck do you figure this out?
You just answered your own question. That's what it is. It's not. You're not unhappy. You're disappointed in yourself. You're disappointed in yourself. You know you leaving it on the table. You know that you in our opening conversation, you know you could have went for 83. You settled for 50. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes we got to chase it. I think we just put a definition to that. And I think that's what, like I said, this this idea of happiness, it's a very intriguing one, and it's something that I think can be discussed multiple times over because it is a fascinating concept when you think about it. And to have it on all the time is just not realistic. And I don't even know if people know what it looks like, but I did recognize you when you just said that. And I looked at it as, oh, that's just disappointment because you feel if you couldn't do any better, I don't think you would feel this way. I think you only feel this way because you know you haven't reached your potential, not because the opportunities haven't presented themselves, but because you haven't really put in all the work. You put in some work, but not all the work. But that also can be a crazy or scary thing too, because sometimes just doing the work is the work. Like these moments that I just talked about, I just mentioned it. I don't want to get too high or low on it because then everything I do is going to be based off of chasing that feeling. Like there's no better feeling than getting that phone call or getting that email for that first time. And you got to remember, I kind of said it when we was on here with Big Jeff. A lot of these are my first in this space where you've had a lot of this stuff. You've done live events, you've done X, Y, and Z. Like, not saying that it doesn't, it's not appealing to you or it doesn't bring you some excitement, but it's also not, there's nothing like the first time on anything you do. First time you try a restaurant, first time you see that girl, first time, whatever, first time you see that movie, whatever. The first time is always just different. Tying into our nostalgia conversation, right? Going back and being able to remember, oh, I remember this feeling. I remember where I was. That's a big, important part of what we do. Growing up, one of the things I hated the most, and I don't know why, I hated what's your 2-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? I hated that question because part of it is like, bro, I'm just trying to get through the day. I don't know. But as we get older and we're in that gray area, as you call it, I've understood the importance of having something to strive for or something to look forward to. And not in the sense of looking forward for the weekend, because I think when you do that, you lose track of time. When we say like time flies, I think it's because we're living for moments. You get what I'm saying? So we're doing our pop-up March 28th. It could be very easy for me to say right now as we're recording on March 11th, I can't wait to get to Nashville. Can't wait to link up with Lou, blah, 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 and just kind of breeze through the next 17 days or so versus really maximizing what could happen in this day. And yes, there's a 95% chance it's going to be a mundane-ass day. It's going to be a regular-ass Thursday where I get up, I go to work, I have the same conversations I have with the people I work with, teach the same shit that I teach, talk about Breaking Bad with y'all, which I enjoy, but there's nothing really out of the norm of what my Thursdays look like. And I don't know if switching it up is even going to change anything. I just think that the mindset of saying, okay, what can I do to be my best today? And be comfortable with not reaching that. I think that has to do with the whole happiness and things of it. But I said all that to say, do you have anything that you are shooting for? Do you have anything where you want to be in 2 years or 3 years? And I know we talk about this often. Do you think having somebody to do this journey with is a factor into it in some way, shape, or form? Because I've always said,
what do you mean with like what?
Like a woman.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Just somebody to some kind of consistent being who's there on the journey with you. Right now, you want an individual journey, but just having somebody to take that journey with you. And I'm only saying that, and that doesn't mean it's true. I don't believe that happiness is where you need to get out of a rut by a lot of people. We see a lot of people have babies to try to keep relationships alive. That's not true. That's not smart. Like, don't do that.
No.
But I do. There is a part of me, if I'm being all the way real, that thinks to myself, I would be the best version of myself is having a kid.
Really? You think that?
The only reason I say that, I'm not saying the act of having a kid. Take the kid part out of it. It's having somebody that I'm living for outside of myself. Like giving myself up to say, I'll do anything for this child to make their life. I would grind harder. That's stuff we talk about as far as
David said that too when he was on. I get that.
Being complacent. And I'm not saying, and I want to be clear, I'm not saying I'm gonna have a kid because I'm in this rut and I need to kind of find my own motivation. It doesn't work like that. But I do think if that were to happen, if somebody if I knew I had a child on the way, I just think that I know myself well enough to know I'm not going to bullshit with that, and it will probably unlock something. It would probably irritate me even more because it just proves that you could have been doing this. You could have been like had your foot on the gas and getting all this stuff done, because it is easy to get complacent where you are when you get comfortable, as you mentioned. Like you get in a comfortable spot, you stop really shooting for goals because it's like, all right, man, well, I don't have to do that. Like I had a conversation with somebody I work with today, and it's just like, man, I could do this, but is the money going to? Growing up in my 20s and even early 30s, you want to get after the bag, which is important. You need that to kind of survive in this world, especially with the price of living. Now at 39, almost 40, I really had to look at something, and I was like, for the increase that I would get, it's not worth the peace of mind that I have now. Like, and those two are really balanced out. Like, where back 10 years ago would have been a no-brainer. Like, I'm gonna go for that position because it's gonna pay me more. Now I'm looking at it it pays me more, but it doesn't pay me enough to where it's going to change my life. It'll be some extra money to do some stuff with, but it's not drastically changing my life to where I'm going to a new stratosphere. So my peace of mind is it's at maximum right now. It's going to have to be outrageous for me to go ahead and give that up for a bag or for something else. And that's just something I think we look at life the more we live it.
So you asked about the significant other. That was the start of your question.
If you just
partner.
Yeah, partner. I just call it partner because it doesn't have to. Whatever, man. You know how we are when it comes to this shit, man. So yeah, just having a person, a consistent person.
I mean, I assume it would be cool, but it doesn't cross my mind.
Think it ties into your day to day, like having somebody that depends on you. Because right now, neither one of us has anybody that depends on us.
I could see where that would be a motivating factor, yes. But do you want that added pressure? Like a genuine, honest question? Like I look up sometimes and be like, man, I'm so glad I don't got kids. Like niggas explain to me going through the drive-through and the kids' orders is $50, theirs is $20, so that's $70 at the Chick-fil-A visit. Because you got 3 kids? Like, nah,
that just made my skin.
I don't.
I did pay 70 at Chick-fil-A just
and
made
that's
my
that's a day. That ain't a week. That ain't like nothing. That's we pulling up to Chick-fil-A. It's $70. Like, nah, I don't. I think about that when people ask me about relationships and kids, and I don't know if that's good or bad. That's what my mind has been processed to do at this stage of my life. So when you say, would it be better with somebody? Possibly. That person was the right somebody, and then the process that you got to go through to figure out if that person is the right somebody, like, nah, I would much more rather figure out what I need to figure out in these spaces with what we do, with whatever I do in corporate. I would rather much more put my brain power towards that and figuring that out and figure out how to be well off than figure out how to build a steady relationship at this point in my life. And I know people, like I've had that conversation with people and they were like, well, what about nigga when you get 65 or 70? And me and David talked about it. He's like, nigga, you're looking at being alone. Like you're going to need someone to go to the doctor with you. You're going to need someone like at some point in time, you ain't gonna be able to do the shit that you need to do. And I don't got kids, I don't got brothers or sisters. So he's like, that may be something that you need to look at versus you answering it like I just answered it. But I still can't get there though. I still can't get to that place where like that's an important thing to me. Like the most important thing for me right now is not necessarily happiness, but making sure that the work that I put in is fruitful to me from here moving forward. And that could be the work that I put in a corporate job, here in podcasting and content creation. But the most important thing to me is making sure that the work that I put in is going to be continuously lucrative for me for the rest of my life. That's the puzzle that I want to figure out. That's a major key or attribute to my happiness. Like those are the things when people ask me, are you happy and do you like what you're doing? Those things are figured out and running, not even necessarily like well-oiled machines, but just running to a sense of, yeah, there's something here. And from that something here, you're making a living and doing exponentially well for yourself. Like that's what I'm shooting for. And in that, I just don't see the commitment to another. Like, I don't want to rob another person of an experience either. Like, I don't want to rob a lady of me wanting and having this is the first priority of my life, and her having to take the back seat because it ain't where I want it to be at. And I could be robbing myself of an experience because of that, but I do way more so on I ain't trying to waste nobody time, lead nobody on. Like, none of that will be put on my jacket.
I first of all, I love that answer. That is the right answer and the mature answer, because it all starts within, as we mentioned. Like, getting myself together is more important than trying to get myself together by using another person to get there. It would never work. So what you're saying is 100% correct. And I love how you mentioned, because this is what the counter is usually, well, you're robbing yourself of these experiences. And I get that, but I'm also, how good is the experience going to be if I'm not there? You know what I mean? If I'm not mentally there, if I'm not present. We all know when we want to do something and when we don't. It's whether or not we listen to it or not. You know, I know there's times when I'm just like, man, I don't feel like doing that shit. Like, it sounds good, but I don't feel like doing that shit. Small example. I'm a season ticket holder for the Bengals. I live in Cleveland, right? There is a fear of missing out sometimes, where you see a game and it's like, man, I want to go back to the city and check this out, but you really ain't motivated to do it. You really ain't motivated to kind of get up, start moving, get on the road, take that drive. What you're really saying is, I don't feel like doing this shit, but you're doing it out of habit or doing it out of missing out on something. And when you get there, the experience might not be the best. I talked to you recently about, because we said earlier, I'm traveling for sports, concert, food. I wanted to go to, I had plans on going to Chapel Hill. I'm a big Carolina Tar Heel fan. And Caleb Wilson, our best player, broke his wrist. Now, I'll sit here talking to you about it briefly. And I was like, man, I was trying to talk myself into it. I almost use you as a crutch. Like, what you think? Would you do it? If the best player left, would you still go? And he was like, nah, I want to see him play. I didn't really need to ask you that. I was just trying to talk myself into it when I knew I didn't feel like going anymore. And it's okay to identify and recognize, like, yo, bro, you don't want to do this. It's cool. Just don't go. But that trying to get rid of that missing out phase, like, man, but if I do go, it could be something spectacular. And chances are, at this point of life, a basketball game's not going to change my life. It's going to be a great experience, but it's not going to change my life. And I've been there before. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of it
that goes to.
Go ahead.
I was just about to say, we're going to talk about, we keep teasing it, but today when I was listening to the Winning Book, what you said right there was one of the things that he focused in on one of the chapters I was listening to today. It's like, you have to come to a grips in your mind with shit that you just don't want to do, and stop lying to yourself and being like, well, I'm going to try to figure it out, or this, that, and the third. Like, the book is called Winning, and he was saying one of the thought process and the mindsets of winning is understanding when it's time to give a fight up. Like, you just not gonna, like, winning beats you this time. Like, he's really describing winning, and I know we said we weren't gonna get into it, but he's winning. Like, he describing winning as almost like the villain in a horror movie. Like, this nigga winning is gonna fuck with you. He gonna show you shit that you think, like, he damn near Freddy Krueger. And if you keep lying to yourself to winning about, oh, yo, I want to do this, and you ain't really dedicated to it, like what you were saying, I was looking for a way not to do it. One of the chapters that I was listening to today, and he was like, one of the things that's most beneficial to people who want to be winners is like, when you realize that shit, dude, let the shit go. Like, we lie to ourselves way too long and say we want to do stuff, or I'm gonna make plans to do this. I'm gonna make plans to call this person. I'm gonna make plans to do this thing. That, like, we are all like, you have this thing that you know you can do it, And when you tell yourself, I'm gonna make plans to talk to this person this about this, you push it off and you push it off, and then it never happens, and you keep it on your to-do list versus you saying, I can prepare for it. We can do this call and we can knock this shit out. Or I can keep putting it off because I'm scared of what they might say. I'm scared of the responses they might have to what I want to do. And you keep pushing it off, and it becomes this big thing in your mind. And it's just not what winning mindset is. Winning mindset is, here's the thing, here's the objective. This is the thing that we're trying to do. Here's the time that we have to figure it out. I'm going to do everything that I need to do in the sense of figuring it out. And then when we get there, I'll perform or I won't perform, and we can evaluate the performance from there. But a non-winning mindset is, I'm going to push it off. I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to come up with all these excuses as to why it won't work in the first place. I'm going to come up with all these excuses as to why this person wouldn't listen to me or I'm less than. And it was so interesting hearing you say that, just not even in the same tense, because that really ain't got nothing to do with winning and losing, what you was talking about with the Carolina game, but it does have to do with how we train our minds to do the things that we, like listening to ourselves. And that was what he was talking about in that chapter. It's like, just listen to yourself. Like if it's something like that, there's a voice in your head where you're going to tell you, it's like, I don't really want to do that. But you will lie to yourself because you feel like, oh, I said I was going to do it and I got to follow through with it. But all the time you half-assing it, you're not doing it to the best of your ability because you ain't never want to do it in the first place. Like you said, you asked me like, well, would I go to Chapel Hill? Like, no, nigga, you knew you didn't want to go.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It really didn't matter what I said. I could have said this and I could have convinced you, and then you would have got there and been like, I ain't really want to fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a hard time, I feel like, and when I talk about this gray area, we have a hard time listening to ourselves at this age.
I think part of it is, I think we have a hard time doing that because we're still searching for what we talked about. We're searching for that happiness and that joy. So we're giving things a shot because maybe this is it. Maybe this will
make me happy. Maybe, but all the time you hearing yourself being like, nah, bro, this ain't it.
Yeah.
But you're like, nah, I gotta be it because I seen this on Earn Your Leisure. I seen this nigga on Instagram doing it. I seen this nigga trading fucking day stock, so I can do it. I seen this nigga doing mobile homes and buying them and flipping them, so I can do it. And you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to try that because somebody showed this to me on Instagram. But in the back of your mind, you still knowing like, bro, I ain't into this shit. Like, regardless of any one of those things that you see to make money and to do passive or whatever incomes, if it's vending machines or you want to get this other job or career in cybersecurity, like you'll see those ads on Instagram. And you'll be like, well, I'm going to try that because I want another stream of income. But the whole time you knowing, like, I'm not into this shit, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of this. And that's the thing they leave out on all those courses and things that they're trying to sell you. Like, yeah, it's a cool stream of income, but you still got to be into it. You still got to give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
Like you ain't making no money off parlays if you don't like sports just because everybody else doing parlays. You think you could pick up and be like, oh, well, I'm going to pick James Harden tonight. That's why niggas be so mad about it. Like, no, nigga, you don't know what's going on. You ain't in the sports. Like, there's a way you could do this and win, but you trying to make the get easy quick, well, the easy money thing out of it. Everybody doing it. They making some money off of it. I'm going to try it too. But in the back of your head, you hearing yourself be like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of this. I don't want to do this. That's why I don't sports gamble. I'm not. I ain't digging deep into that shit like that. But that's a whole rant about all of that.
Yeah, about that. I also don't like when things are heavily promoted, like because then it feels like a money trap. Now
you come to me about Forex and day trading and like, nope.
Yeah,
I'm out now. Bitcoin, like, I'm sorry. It's just like you said. I mean, it's heavily promoted now. Like, nah, I ain't, nope. I don't believe.
You missed the
you're just trying to make some money off me.
Exactly. So, as we do in another week in the books, it's not about the conversation per se. It's about trying to find out the solution as well. As we're having this convo and as we're getting ready to wrap things up, and like I said, this is something that can continuously happen. We can have this conversation, I feel like, once a month as a check-in. But what do we do to change this? How do we find this? How do we shift our mindset? Because one thing I thought of is, when's the last time you take an inventory in life just to trim off the stuff that you don't need? Going back to the conversation of, like, why am I doing this? Do I really want to do this? I think there's a lot of things that. Do you watch Shrinking?
Yeah, that's my shit.
So you know how they talk about the field, where the universe will continuously show you things. Shine and what's
Oh
Harrison
yeah,
Ford's
yeah.
name? Why I can't think of his name right now. I know
I know.
Jimmy's
Yeah,
Jason Siegel. I
I
can't
know.
think.
Yeah, I
Either
don't know
way,
Harrison Ford character
Harrison
name.
Ford, the main therapist, he was talking to Sean, the black guy, and he was just talking about the field and just like, hey, when you're at a certain point in life, the universe sends you signs and put these things in front of you as consistent, and it's not a one-time thing. They're constantly going to be there until you make the decision to change things in your life. That's what it's there for. It happens, and I believe in that. I believe there are things that happen where, like, when we might consider them coincidences, but sometimes you just have certain examples that happen over and over. It's like, all right, then this is trying to, I need to make a change one way or another. I think some of that is probably doing inventory and just trying to check out or clean out what you don't need. Some of it might be as simple as just doing a deep clean or refresh of your space. Some of it might just be as simple as trying to map out what you want to do for the rest of the month, maybe even what you want to do for the rest of the week. Like set a goal for yourself, just something to look forward to, something to kind of put yourself into gear to reach that next level. What do we do? Like, what do we do to get out of whatever state it is of unhappiness? Because that's the thing. So as I'm thinking about this in real time, you're not happy, but are you unhappy?
No, unhappy is not the word I would use.
Okay, so you content? Would you say
I
content?
know there's a more content is kind of strong too, because that would that would lead to it saying that I'm cool with waking up every day and doing this for like no, it's not content either. It's you have work to do and accepting that fact. I think too a lot of what you just said there, the way to remedy what we're talking about here, if you are speaking about unhappiness or whatever it may be, just being able to be honest enough with yourself when you that person that you looking at in the mirror, that when you by yourself, like being able to be like, I got work to do, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
there is legitimate work to do. You've talked about being fearful of that person that gets up and just go through the motions of life and the mundaneness every day, and you just like now you look up, you're 65 years old. Where we are in this gray area is where you have to prevent that from happening. And you look in the mirror every day when you wake up and you're like, well, how the fuck do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm working this job that allows me to pay the bills, and I'm doing this thing that I love that allows me to get my voice heard, but there is more that I could be doing. And how do I do that? How do I do that without completely tapping my resources? How do I do that without feel like that I'm wasting my time or doing something that I'm uncomfortable with, like posting reels and like we talked about looking in the camera? Like, how do you figure out, all right, these are the players that are in front of you, what you gonna do with them? Like that's the gray area. I think David really nailed it last week when he was talking about like being, I got this much in my account. Well, I'm going to start Ubering. I'm going to start doing this. And I got to build this up to what I want it to be, because for so long, I've been living for other people. I finally take the decision to live to myself. I feel like we at that age now where we have those same thoughts. He was that age when he was explaining that to us about it. So being honest with yourself, to answer your question in the sense of what we do about it, being honest with yourself about what I want to do, what I'm willing to do, and what I'm just not gonna do. Like we lie to ourselves so much at this age and think that it's a pride. It may be a pride thing, it may be an ego thing. Like we get to a point at this age, we be like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do it. You agree to so much stuff, you agree to different podcasts and timing. And when you look up at the end of the week, you're like, God damn, I recorded 20 hours of podcast a weekend for what?
Mm-hmm.
Like that stopped me from doing something else that I could have been. And you do that from a pride standpoint in the sense of, well, yeah, I'm the nigga that can do that. Like I got the the bandwidth and I got the opinions to be able to do that on all these different platforms. But at the end of the day, what is that doing to what you want overall? Like being able to honestly tell yourself, like, bro, you're bullshitting, say no, or say yes, or go do this thing that you normally wouldn't do. But now you at this stage in your life where, like, I gotta try new shit because I'm looking for something that gives me feeling, that gives me hope, that gives me like that next phase or next chapter that I want to do.
Do you have the confidence in yourself to, not in yourself, do you have the confidence that when you feel that it's time to trim a podcast or two off, that you will be able to make that decision? Or will it go back to our conversation we had some chapters back when you said, hey, this is the job, this is just part of it. Like, I committed to this, so I'm going to do this. Do you feel like you have do you have it in yourself to say, you know what, that's it? Can you pull a Mo? Can you say, you know what, I gave this everything I had. I'm exiting the stage left now.
That has been on my mind.
Okay.
I do, but it would have to make sense for the time, like the time that I allocate to whatever I would pull, it has to go to something else that I feel like would be more valuable. So that's the inventory that I'm taking now to what you're saying. So like if I pull this and stop doing this, and if I go do a Patreon and I feel like it's more beneficial, would I do that? Okay. That's where I'm at.
But hold on. So what if the value was in just the time? Or is that not valuable to you?
What you mean?
Like if you stepped away from something, instead of replacing it with another pod, why don't you just say, I just get more time in my week back?
To do what?
That's the thing.
That's how my brain, but that's how my brain think though. Like, what am I doing? Why would I do that? Like my brain goes to, you taking time away. Like, this is the thing that I said I wanted.
So find that happiness.
When I first started this.
Seriously, can that time
be used? Where? Like,
that's
what
journey.
Play pickleball?
Go read.
I'm gonna go hiking.
Go read the Monk Sold Us a Ferrari again. Maybe it can inspire you. Like, I don't know. Like, and I'm not being funny when I say this. I know you're not. Mean, like, maybe it's okay to say you don't know, and that's not a Spike Lee thing. That's for me. I'm talking to myself. It's okay to say that I don't know, but I'm going to use this time to figure it out. And if that means one of the most useful pieces of information, the company I work for, I was talking to somebody in a different department. It was their process department, right? And I don't work in process. I don't know if I really have an interest, but we were networking and just kind of talking. And I just finished doing a presentation for this group. This other department didn't know what we did, so we put on a presentation, walked them through it. Afterwards, they had this like meet and greet, whatever, after work. We having drinks or whatnot. And I'm talking to the head of this department, and we're just talking about what their day looks like. And he said, you know what, for what we do, because they pretty much problem solve, or they try to, they get a task, say, hey, we need this to happen. I need you to do it. And that's it. No direction, no guidance, no instructions, no nothing. And I thought that was fascinating. But the thing he told me about that was sometimes the best thing for my reps to do is to just sit on the couch and think. He said, we get caught so much up task. We're so task oriented that we look at these check marks. We got to do this. That means you had a productive day. If I got these things done and answered these emails and did all this stuff, I had a good day. And he was like, man, well, for what we do, it's okay to spend a couple of days just sitting down and really just trying to figure it out in your head. And that's always stuck with me. I had this conversation in early December of 2025, and it's been on my mind ever since of maybe there is something, because we do get caught up and kind of bogged down with our work and keep ourselves occupied with it. Because I think sometimes, and we've said this before in early chapters, the most difficult person to learn, a difficult thing to do is getting to know yourself. And that takes some isolation at times, and that just takes a little bit. So when I say, does that have to be replaced with another pod? Based on our conversation, it sounds like you can use some more me time. Maybe not a ton of it, but maybe some, to where you just sit down and maybe you play the game, and maybe an idea sparks to you, or maybe you're motivated by something that you just happen to be randomly thinking about on a Wednesday evening because you don't have to record X, Y, and Z anymore. Like, I think you know what this is your space. Don't get me wrong. Like, you are 100% in the right place. But is there some room that you can carve out for yourself? You know what I mean? Like, I never want to leave. I understand the Barry Sanders concept of I'd rather leave too early than too late. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can't have Rock Nation if you're still doing Rockefeller. As beautiful as Rockefeller is, you got to have a chance to kind of spread your own wings and figure out what's that next challenge for yourself. You know, and I think that when things end, people look at it as maybe a negative connotation, but I think it's just a new opportunity for growth. And that's just something to think about. I don't know.
No, that was well said. I do understand what you're saying. And it goes back to an earlier point in our conversation with how comfortable you feel with your routine. Because immediately for me, like what I asked you is I stop it and do what? Like, I'm gonna go play pickleball. I'm gonna join a bridge club. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe.
And you're right. and you're right. Maybe that would be dope, and that would inspire thought and get me to the next place in my life. But it goes to the original point in this conversation, or the original starting point, when you said your mom asked you and I said Dave asked me. It's like, are you happy? And this is being completely transparent, I have to trust myself to give those things up and to do something productive towards something else.
You don't trust
Like,
yourself.
I don't know that I wouldn't just be like, all right, well, I got more time now to fucking watch Mad Men or scroll the fucking internet or do these things that, like, I do very sparingly in between being busy. Now I got this whole free block because I don't record another week in the books on Wednesday. What am I doing on Wednesday night now? Am I joining a bowling league? Am I like, yeah, I'm saying, or am I like, it's just trusting myself in the sense of, if you're going to cut this fat, make sure that you're cutting this fat to be more precise, to be more brand focused and building this thing. And if that comes from editing the other videos from the things that you do, or another passion project that you have, like, what would I be cutting this fat for, versus being comfortable in, I got this laid out on how I do this on a weekly basis. And that gets to 10 to 15 to 20,000 people, from another week in the books to Is the Mic Salon to On Deck to Frames Per Second, or whatever it is that we're doing. And knowing that many people hearing me on a weekly basis, is that satisfying enough? Or do I cut something and be like, well, it could be even more than that? Like, I don't know the answer to that. That's a question that I would have, looking in the mirror and being honest with myself and being like, well, yeah, you could cut something, you could do a Patreon, but what does that look like? And then if you do that, then how many people need to be there for you? We've had this discussion in our group chat this week. Yeah. And I was talking to Mo in the sense of, well, we'll talk about that later, but just there are things. Go ahead.
Just real quick. Just to clarify, it sounds like what you're saying is you don't have a problem cutting time. However, if you are going to cut time, you need to already have it in place of what you're doing next. You can't just cut the time and figure it out.
I can't cut it and figure it out because I get too comfortable in having it cut. Like, I know myself. That goes back to the not taking homework home since the 5th grade. I know myself. Like, okay, if that time is free now, then I'm good. I'm just going to do something else.
So my question to you, Spike Lewis, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with taking 6 months to just have that time for yourself? Do you not trust yourself?
I have no idea what.
You're a self-motivating person. Like, here's the thing, because I mentioned me being the same way in regards of maybe procrastination and all this other stuff. The good thing about our personalities, when we want to do it, we gonna do it. Like, you know what I mean? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, when we get motivated, you can tell there's a very stark contrast between us going through the motion and when we really want to do some shit, right?
Facts.
It's like that person in the gym. I was just in here to get a little cardio, and oh, you talking shit now? I'm about to bust your ass. Like if a nigga who could really hoop and taking it easy on you, oh, you thought you was sweet? All right, now it's a difference between that. So that I always rely on that for myself, and I can see it in yourself to where when that time comes, and to be clear, I 100% understand where you're coming from because 2 weeks can turn into 2 years, and 2 years can turn into. It's very easy to do it. So I understand your caution and wanting to do that, and I applaud you for knowing yourself well enough to know that that's dangerous for me. I need to have this spot already filled. Hopefully, there's some balance that can be found somewhere to where maybe instead of feeling it, that is what you need. Maybe you just do need that downtime, that chill time, because we don't get a ton of it. We don't get a ton of it. I was just talking to somebody recently, and they were asking if I was going to be here this weekend. I'm like, man, I'm gone every weekend in March pretty much. I have something to do every weekend on top of recording multiple times a week. I do appreciate the moments when I can just relax and not have to answer anything or be in contact with or prepare for anything. Every day of the week, I feel like I'm doing something podcast related. Even if I'm not recording, I'm watching something, I'm taking notes on something, I'm getting my thoughts together. I might be posting a reel. And that does get tiring. I don't complain about it because I want to do it and I'm willing to put in the work. But I also appreciate being with friends and family and all that stuff. It makes me want more of it. But I don't know how I operate. To go to your point, I'm so into it, I don't know what I would do with that free time. But there's also some beauty in the unknown. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I get what you're saying. Like there could be some gold there, but there's a hesitancy because, again, I know my personality. Like I was thinking about that this week to a point that you just made. I talk about everything other than friends and family, like the time that I said I enjoy, and then maybe there's a correlation to that. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I don't talk about podcasts. But everything else I talk about. It's a new movie, it's new music, it's sports, it's current events, it's Breaking Bad, it's The Sopranos, like everything that you could imagine I talking about on a weekly basis, I talk about it. So
that's I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, bro. If you ever do reach that point where you take some time, I think the perfect way to start that, go out to places and talk to people about those things. Just don't do it on a recording. Maybe that's a good rhythm. Maybe getting out there and talking to people face to face about random. Maybe you go to a random bar or random restaurant and you dolo. We talk all the time about how we might be somewhere and somebody going to walk up and talk to us. Maybe you engage in that conversation. Maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. But maybe you can continue to have these conversations, but instead of them being recorded on a microphone, you have them with real people. And then you can kind of get that feedback and maybe it sparks a new idea. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But when you said it like that, that just thought on me like, damn, what do you?
There's nothing.
What are you saving? What are you saving for yourself?
There's nothing that I consume that I don't talk about. Yeah, I was thinking about that like one of my rides to work this week. I was like, everything like that's consumed. Like if you're talking about the war in Iran, we talking about that. Is the mic still on? We talking about the new music from T.I. We talking about that on deck. You talking about how you feeling this week? We talking about that right here with another week in the books. You talking about what you watched this week? We talking about that with frames per second. You talking about you're rewatching this show? We talk about that with No More Half Measures. Like everything that I do in my life, I talk about. Okay. Other than being intimate, and even sometimes then that spills over, like intimate moments with family and friends. And it's ironic that that's the most enjoyable thing to me because I'm not having to take note. I'm not having to.
That's intentional. It's not ironic. Yeah, really? That's for a reason. Yeah, because you're not sharing it. It's for you. Yeah. Like you decided this is for me. And that's why you enjoy it so much because you don't have to do anything special. You don't have to prepare for it. You just got to show up. And it's different than showing up for this. You just show up and just kind of embrace it and live those moments. And you don't have to worry about, okay, I went back home to Nashville. Let me try to figure out a way to weave this into a conversation on one of these recordings this week. Nah, this is just for me. And we appreciate the time when we go from there. And I think that's okay. And I recently told you, I said, man, I don't have an interest in talking about sports. I love watching sports, but I don't feel like it. And I think you echoed and said I would never do like a Cowboys podcast because that's for me. I want to do that in my own time and keep that. So I think the more we find things that we can kind of keep for ourselves, it's why I always understand when I know there's always big debates about when people are getting relationships. Some people might say, I don't post my partner. Lil Duval is famous for that, right? I'm not posting my old lady, whatever. And I do believe there is something with, like, there are some things when people see you happy, especially in the social media age, they're gonna do whatever they can to kind of throw rocks at that. And I do think there's some peace in knowing that I have a little bit of my life carved out for myself, or maybe this event I don't post on social media. Maybe I just keep that experience. I don't know. It's a conversation that can go multiple ways, and we don't have a clear answer for it today. And I think that's okay as well. Like, we're gonna leave this episode not knowing what that looks like, but I think we're gonna be dedicated to trying to figure it out and better ourselves in that time.
And we leave this episode with it all being on the table. Like, I feel like the most important thing from this episode, and you and I having this conversation and building off the conversation with David and the people that we know are locked in and listen every week, it's like, how honest can you be with yourself? Like, I think a lot of this was between me and you saying, when you looking in the mirror, it's like, do I want to take all this shit on? Like, am I happy doing all of this shit that I'm doing? Or do I need to make some adjustments? Like, do I need to have a real come to Jesus moment and be like, nah, yeah, you may enjoy this, but is it making you happy? And I think those are two different things. Like, you can enjoy something, you can be good at it, but happiness is something different. That's a totally different experience. Me going into a gym at Gold's or wherever it may be that I hoop, and knowing that I hoop my ass off and niggas like, that nigga did this thing, that ain't necessarily making me happy. I just know I enjoy doing that because I like getting in whatever. If I'm a hooper, getting in my hooping bag, or if I'm a podcaster, me and you coming to do this and doing what we do and having the conversations that we have, or the conversations that I would have it on deck or dead end or whatever it may be. Like, I may enjoy doing that, but does that make you happy? Like, can you go at the end of the night and be like, man, this was a fulfilling day, like fulfilling as Thanksgiving with the family, fulfilling as the 25th home or whatever family reunion or the class reunion with people that you fucking know, they know you before all the adult shit got involved. Like, is it as fulfilling as just sitting around having a genuine conversation with people? I think a lot of bookworms will appreciate this conversation in the sense of, when I wake up tomorrow, like, I really want to understand what makes me happy.
That's very, very well said. I think that's a perfect place to end the conversation, especially in the regard to the bookworms. Hey, y'all, this is off the top of my head. This might be the most we would love to hear your feedback type of episode that we've done, because we don't have the answers for this, and I want to know if anybody relates to what we're saying, and what Spike Lou detailed, and what your thoughts are, advice, tips, whatever the case is, as we try to search what this happiness definition is. Even the idea of, does this make me better versus does this make me happy, or is there some kind of parallel between them? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that we still have even after this conversation, and it's going to be something that we continue to explore. But please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out, awitb2022@gmail.com, or hit us up on Instagram. I'm on the Instagram page. DMing is probably going to be the best route. We can have convos. You can even join us on an episode to have the further conversation. But I'm really curious to know what y'all think about this. And Spike Lou, as always, man, always a pleasure having these real conversations. This is by far the one that I look forward to the most, because I don't have to, I don't want to say prepare per se, but really all I got to do is be myself and not hold back any punches when it comes to honesty. A lot of stuff that we do, I can withhold stories. I think, like, I ain't gonna put it out there. This is the space where it's like, nah, I put it all out there, good, bad, and ugly, and let's talk about it, because it's just real life and we all relate to it. And I think that's why people rock with us and they enjoy Dave and all the other bookworms that we've had. So I appreciate this conversation.
Absolutely. I appreciate it too. And to your point, what you say, like, it's not a place where you hold back. It's a place where you pour out because you know other people can relate.
Yeah.
That's one of the most satisfying things about this platform for me is the texts and the calls that I get throughout the week and be like, bruh, I ain't even know I needed to hear that, but I did.
Yeah.
And that's just because y'all were just up there talking, having conversations.
Yeah.
It's not because y'all were trying to attack the algorithm or whatever's going on in the world. It's just like, oh, these two black men are having a conversation and I can relate to it. So
Yeah.
shout out to you.
Shout out to you, man. Great work once again. We're gonna figure all of it out. And add another week in the books. If you go to the link in the bio, 2 separate links, one for the crew neck, one for the t-shirt. Put those orders in now. We definitely appreciate the support. If you in the Nashville or close by, March 28th, Duco's. Come get a slice of pizza. Come chop it up with us. Come buy some merch. Come experience me and Lou's first time getting able to link up. I'm looking forward to that. And remember, next week is the 3rd Friday of the month. You're going to be doing dead end stuff, correct? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so right now we will not have an episode next Friday. We appreciate y'all. I did have some Wi-Fi issues. The power went out, so I've been recording this past couple 45 minutes with no power. But we had just enough juice on the iPhone hotspot to make this work. And it's about to die, so it's a perfect time to get out. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all in a couple weeks. Until then, y'all know we got plenty of other podcasts we're part of. Appreciate y'all branching out to other things that we do. And always make sure we get better this week. Peace.
Peace.